a talk on that by Mr. Pranjay Mehta. So I'm here to welcome you all to this gathering. Let me start my duty. So CMS College of Science and Commerce, which was started in the year 1988. Now it has grown up to a group of institutions, and we have engineering college, B.Ed college, management colleges, and many schools also. So all the, participants from all these institutions are there, but I think most of them have joined in a single link from their respective institutions. So many are actually attending this program. So to begin with, first of all, let me welcome all the office bearers of our institutions, CMS institutions. Though they are not present here, with their support and with their guidance, we are doing all these programs. So I have great pleasure in welcoming each and every one of our office bearers. Then our principal, beloved principal, Dr. H. Balakrishnan, who always motivates us to do some innovative programs. Apart from just doing the subject, he always encourages us to do seminars or webinars, workshops on other aspects also. So my hearty welcome to our principal, Dr. H. Balakrishnan. Now we have our most precious and valuable resource person, Dr. Pranjay Mehta, who is going to give us a lecture on emotional and spiritual quotient. So he is basically an engineer, but speaking on these topics also. So we are extremely happy to have such a wonderful resource person who is multi-talented. So on behalf of everyone, on behalf of the institutions, on behalf of all the participants, on behalf of all the staff members, students, and everyone, I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Pranjay Mehta. Welcome, sir. Welcome to our institution. Now, let me welcome all the participants from various institutions, not only from our group of institutions, from other institutions also, KG College of Arts and Science, then RVS College, Pioneer College, and many more, Nirmala College, so many participants I could see in the list. So I extend a warm welcome to each and every one of the participants. And I'm sure you're all going to be benefited out of this lecture. You're not going to waste your single moment, but it is going to be a very, very useful one. So I request each and everyone to make use of this opportunity. At the end, please post your questions, realizations, etc. And I ask you to remain till the end of the program, because yesterday I think few were leaving in between. So if you want to get anything from this program, I think you should attend it till the end. So once again, let me extend a warm welcome to each and everyone here. Welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I would like to welcome Ms. Shalini, Assistant Professor of Department, to give brief introduction about our chief guest.
Good morning, everyone. It is my privilege to introduce the resource person of today's program, Mr. Pranjay Mehta, completed B.Tech in Northeastern Region Institute of Science and Technology. He worked as an intern in IIT. He was a General Secretary in Nearest Electronics Society, Arunachal Pradesh. He also served as a CAD engineer in Cevitec system, and currently he is working in Western Digital as a senior CAD engineer and is devotee to. We are very fortunate to have you, sir, among us today as a resource person. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I'm heartily welcoming our chief guest, Mr. Pranjay Mehta, to take over our section.
Thank you everyone for such a warm welcome, and I'm very happy. It's a great pleasure to be among all of you and deliver this session on IQ, EQ, and SQ. So without much delay, so let's get started with the session. Am I audible properly? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me share the screen. Okay, is my screen visible? Is my screen visible? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for confirming. So today's session is on the topic IQ, EQ, and SQ, as Dr. Medula has introduced. So everyone knows that we have IQ and EQ, which is intelligence quotient and emotional quotient, right? But very few people actually know about SQ, which is spiritual quotient, right? And most of us who are present here, and we as educated people, we already have good amount of IQ. That's why we are able to perform so well, do something great in life, right? So this is for sure that we all have a great amount of IQ, which is intelligence quotient. But there is something we need to discuss about EQ and SQ, because if we talk about the previous ages, then these two questions, EQ and SQ, were actually were not a part of the discussion, because it was understood, it was very obvious that all the people had good amount of EQ, good amount of SQ, and it was an integral part of the life. So there was no need to discuss about these two things, which is EQ and SQ. But in today's time, as we see, a lot of researches are going on, a lot of discussions are happening, right? That what is EQ, and also we have introduced spiritual quotient as well. So what is the need, and what do they talk about, right? What do they signify, and what are the aspects of EQ and SQ? So these things we will cover in this topic, right? And also at the end, we will also see some case studies, some real life examples, some statistics, right, about EQ and SQ, and finally, how to enhance our emotional quotient and specifically the spiritual quotient. So this is just an overview of the topic, which we are going to discuss on today. So yeah, myself Pranjay Mehta, and I'm a senior CAD engineer working in Western Digital currently. And this is a very great, good topic. Actually, I like it a lot. Actually, I also presented it in some other college as well, and the students actually really liked it. So let's go further, and let's go what's inside this. Okay, so we'll first discuss about IQ, EQ, and SQ. What are the aspects? How can we define them, and how can we understand them, right? So yeah, so if we talk about our brain, our physical brain or our mind, right? We all are science people. We are the people from science background, and I'm an engineer, so technical people. So obviously, we are having great amount of intellectual capability, right? Logical thinking capacity or capability, also data processing capability. So there are a lot of researches about the brain which have happened already. And one of the interesting facts which I came to know, that a brain, our physical brain, a human brain, can actually store that much amount of information. If we just combine all the books, all the information contained in all the books of all the libraries in the entire world, on this planet, and if you combine all that information, still more than that, the human brain can actually store, or can analyze or can handle. So that's the capability of our of our brain. And what to talk about the mind? So brain is just the physical organ, right? Physical part of the body. But if we talk about the mind, still the mind is at the subtle platform, and it's still more capable. And it's like a software, and the brain is like a hardware. And they are both, the combination mind and brain. This is so strong that like the logical thinking capability and the data processing capability a human has, is unimaginable. So as I said in the beginning, that we all are people, science people, and whatever like a qualification we have, it doesn't matter, but a human brain or a human mind is capable of that much. So we all have a great amount of IQ, right? And this is a very interesting thing which I was just analyzing, and I just want I just thought about this, that IQ we can actually relate it to the machines as well, right? We can see that today with so much of technological advancement, so much technological advancement is happening, that the processing capability is increasing day by day. And I'm working in memory field, memory designing, right? Our company is into memory designing. So we can see like a lot of you know we started with kilobytes, and then we came to MBs, megabytes, then GBs. Now we are talking about terabytes, and even we are thinking even more than that. And in terms of this is in terms of memory. If we talk about in terms of the processing capability, so we can see the supercomputers are coming up these days. And as I was researching, so I found out that world's most powerful supercomputer, it's called Fugaku, right? And it is developed by Japan. There's a research institute called Riken Research Institute, and in collaboration with Fujitsu Limited. So they have developed this supercomputer. It's the fastest supercomputer in the in the entire world currently at this particular time. And it has the floating point operations per second, the capability of doing the floating point operations. So if we talk about this, it has 442 petaflops, we can say. So per second it can handle maybe quadrillions of floating point operations. So that's the huge, that's the what to say, the capability of these machines these days. So I was just analyzing, and I found that why can't we relate this IQ with the machines as well? Because they also have these days the logical capability is also coming up in the machines. So we can relate it to the machines, right? The IQ. So because they are having logical and the data processing capability and the memory storage capability as well. So this is a very good equation actually. I was just analyzing, and I noted it down. Yeah. So yeah. So if we talk about, let's say, EQ. So when we add EQ to IQ, which is emotional quotient, right? If we add it to IQ, we can somehow relate it to the animals, because animals also have a little, much of the processing capability, thinking capability, but at the same time they also have emotions, right? And they're able to manage the emotions. If we see, for example, if we can take some examples, right? For example, a dog, he's very loyal to the master, right? And it's a very interesting that I also had a dog actually, and I noticed, I observed so many things from him actually, that even if the master is changing clothes every day, right? Even if he is right, if even if he's in a sherwani, even if he's in a t-shirt or jeans, or let's say whatever clothes, whatever dress we can talk about, so still the dog will be able to look basically locate his master, right? And he has some emotions. He understands the emotions of the master, right? And he's able to manage that. He's able to cope up with the master, right? That's why we say the loyal, the dog is is a very the most loyal animal, right, to the human beings. So if we carefully analyze, so we can see that this equation also holds good, really good, when we relate it to animals, that IQ plus EQ, right, equal to animals. We can relate it to animals. We can also see cows, right? Cows are very simple, and they have very love and affection. They are among the animals which are very affectionate, and they share the love and they want to be loved, right? So I had a chance to visit to a a gaushala actually, and I actually I was completely shocked, by observing the cows that they have this tendency to be loved and to love, right? To show affection. So they have this, emotional quotient, right, in them actually, and they are able to manage that, right? Also the mother, she takes care of the offspring so nicely because she has emotions for the child, and she, tries her best to manage those, right? So she has, the if you talk about the, mothers in the animal society, right? So they have the emotional quotient as well. So this equation actually, I was just observing, I was just analyzing, so it also holds good, right? Now if you talk about EQ, right? What is the aspect? How can we understand what EQ is, right? There are two things, two aspects. First one is awareness about our own emotions, right? Second one is awareness about others' emotions, right? Social awareness. So these are the two aspects we can, broadly, so that we can actually, what to say, represent and, EQ with these two aspects: awareness about our own emotions and awareness about the others' emotions, right? These are the aspects of emotional quotient. And when we talked about IQ, it was um, data processing capability and logical thinking capability. So that was the aspect of IQ, right? Now, when we add the third one, which is SQ, to these two, that is IQ and EQ, so this equation actually holds really good, right? So SQ is nothing but spiritual quotient, correct? And what is the aspect of spiritual quotient first? Let's see. Let's analyze. So spiritual quotient actually adds a deeper meaning to life. You know. So when we ask why, right? This is a very great question. When we ask why in any situation, in any place, in any circumstance, right? In our life, when we ask why, and so it actually unfolds the purpose of doing anything, right? Or the purpose of life in general, correct? And spiritual question is also, has to do with satisfaction, correct? Selfless service, unconditional love, right? And love is always unconditional. So these things, fall under the category of, fall under the spiritual questions, actually spiritual quotient. So if we briefly, or in a one liner, if we just say the aspect of SQ, it is basically a deeper meaning of life, or the purpose, we can say in one word, right? That is SQ all about, spiritual quotient. And a lot of these days actually, the students, right, who, let's say, because I'm from engineering background, so people don't have clarity actually that what I need to do in my life, in my career, right? They are confused actually. And so many people actually say that, they give a lot of advices that, oh, you should do this, you should do that, maybe you can try this, you can try that. But actually, when we have the spiritual quotient with us, we can actually ask this question: why? Right? Why? If I'm doing something, if I have to do something, why I want to do that, then actually we'll get, a lot of deeper answers. And when we get those deeper answers, obviously, will have that clarity to take a decision in our life, right, based on our nature, right, based on our psychophysical nature. So these days actually many people are just, many students are confused, and they take on to, engineering or medicine or whatever, any field in science as well, or commerce, or whatever fields we have, but they don't have the clarity. So the clarity is actually, we will get the clarity through the spiritual quotient. The more the spiritual quotient we have, right, the more clarity we'll be having. The more we'll be clear about the purpose of anything, of any, any action, and about the life in general. So that's all about the spiritual quotient. These are just, some aspects which we are looking into, and we'll go more deeper, right? We'll see some case studies, some statistics, and we'll analyze like what will happen if we have low EQ, low SQ, right? So yeah. Okay. So as I mentioned that we all are, are already having a good amount of IQ. So let's, in this session, let's go deeper, or go deeper into these two aspects, these two particular things, which is EQ and SQ, right? First we'll take EQ, then we'll take SQ, and we'll discuss, right? So actually, so they were two friends, right? Mike and Michael or John, sorry, Mike and John. So both were actually sitting in an examination, an entrance examination, and both appeared in that. And after some time, the result came, right? John was able to, crack the examination, and he got an admission into a, very, very prestigious college in this country, right? And he was very, very happy. All the family members were celebrating like anything, and they were very happy, And what happened to Michael? Mike actually failed the exam. He was not able to crack, right? Then one day after the result came out, so he was sad. Actually, Mike was sad, and he was just contemplating what happened, why I was not able to crack the examination like that. One day they decided to meet together, in a park. Let's say. So what John asked Michael, right? As we can see, so John asked Mike that what happened, Mike, that you failed so badly, right? So he asked like this, and obviously, like so I want to ask like two questions actually. The first question is, was John's reaction towards Mike appropriate? Can anyone, let's say, just in chat box, maybe write something yes or no, whether John's reaction towards Mike was appropriate? He asked this question, Mike, what happened? You failed so badly, right? So what about the reaction, or what about the reaction of John towards Mike? Is it appropriate, or is it not appropriate? Yes, it's appropriate, or you are saying it's appropriate. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, so let's discuss actually. So if we carefully analyze, the emotions of Mike, see, he failed the exam, right? It's very simple. It's very simple to understand. He failed the exam, and obviously, the society, is saying so many things. His family members maybe, saying him so many things, and he himself in his consciousness, right, in his mind, maybe thinking so many things at this particular point of time. And if at this point of time, if John comes and asks this question, why you failed so badly, then obviously it's not a very good reaction or very good approach, right, to talk towards Mike, right? Because so actually we can see this is an example of how a person, what happens, how a person reacts, or reacts in a situation, or how a person behaves basically when he has a low EQ, emotional quotient. So now we are talking about emotional quotient, right? What happens when a person has low emotional quotient? So he's not aware about the emotions, right, of Mike, correct? So the correct approach should be, right, to give him some, to support him in his consciousness, right, to give him some confidence at this point of time, right, and to help him, in whatever way he can. Right? This is a good type of behavior which John can show towards Mike, correct? So this is what happens when we have a low EQ, correct? We are not aware about the others' emotions, and what to talk of others' emotions. We are not aware about mostly about our own emotions. So these are the two aspects of EQ, and if these are not met, so the behaviors will not be proper. The handling of the situation will not be proper, correct? Yeah. So now this question may come to the mind, to our mind, that how to enhance EQ, right? The emotional quotient. This is a very good question, and very interesting question. So let's see how to enhance emotional quotient, right? So there's one sutra actually, which can actually work, when we apply it practically in our lives. We'll go more deeper, but just to start with how to enhance our EQ, this is one sutra actually, single sutra which can work really, really good, right? Pursue higher and more important goals. Now there is something on hold, as you can see here, right? The person is holding a board on hold. Now what is on hold? We have to put something on hold before pursuing higher and important goals. Now what it is? So we have to put momentary needs, right? The temporary needs on hold, correct? Because see, whenever we are into in more what to concerned about our temporary needs, and we don't have important goals or higher goals in our lives, right? It can be spiritual goals, it can be material goals. So we will not be able to focus on the, will not be having any goal, right? So we'll be just completely absorbed in the temporary needs or momentary needs, and in that we will not be able to handle the emotions or handle the situations better. So because we are just putting our focus on the temporary needs, right? Everything is temporary, in our conscious, just that is the only thing which is going on. So obviously the we'll not be able to properly handle the situations, right? Deal with the people, right? So basically we'll not be having a good amount of EQ, emotional quotient, right? So in order to pursue higher and important goals, we have to put the momentary needs or the temporary needs on hold, right? And also, I'm reading Bhagavad Gita, and I'm very fascinated to to read something in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in verse number 14. So Krishna says to Arjuna that matra sparshasta kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkha daha, right? Agama paino nityastam tatikshasva bharata. So it's a very, very, very nice verse actually, where Krishna mentions, Krishna says to Arjuna that, Krishna tells Arjuna that uh, matras parshas to count there, right? So all the the happiness, shitoshna sukha dukkha, so happiness, distress, right? Um, Winter, summer, right? All the seasons, happiness, distress, all the situations in our lives, all are temporary, right? Everything is temporary. Even the things are temporary. Even this body is temporary. So when we understand this principle, actually, this fact about this world, so automatically, we'll be able to handle with the people, handle the situation, handle the things very, very nicely. Handle with the situations, deal with the situation very nicely, because we'll be knowing that the situation is temporary. Even if it is happiness also. Happiness will be temporary. It'll come for some time. It'll go away, right? A distress will come for some time, it'll go away, right? So a person will actually hanker to know what is permanent then, right? What is permanent in my life, actually, in this world? So this is a higher question which the person will ask after knowing this, right? So and a person, when he asks these questions, what is permanent, and what is more important in life, then automatically he'll try to search and he'll get some answers, and automatically the momentary needs, right, will be put aside, or they will be put on hold, and the person will be more and more stable, in dealing with the situation after knowing this fact, right? So this is how this is how one this sutra works actually, for enhancing our EQ, which is emotional quotient. Yeah, so if we go more deeper into it, we can discuss a little bit more, right? Some more practical things. So there are two things, now there are two aspects, right? What are two aspects of EQ? First one is awareness about my own emotions, and second one is awareness about others' emotions. So these are the two aspects, right? Now let's talk about how to enhance or how to take care of the first aspect, correct? The first aspect is how to awareness about our own emotions. So how to be aware, right, about our own emotions? So it starts with self-awareness, correct? When we actually observe our mind, how the mind works, right? So again in Bhagavad Gita, actually, I really like that verse. Again, it's in the second chapter, verse number 62 and 63, correct? So Krishna very logically, he gives a sequence, a flow basically, where he tells Arjuna that how a person falls down, right, from a state of higher consciousness. So it all starts with contemplation, contemplation on the sense objects, right? So what happens is when we come in contact with a particular thing, right, in this world or a person, our senses get activated. When our senses get activated, what will happen is we'll start contemplating, right? The contemplation will start. We'll start to think about that particular thing or think about that particular person, right? After the contemplation, very interestingly, attachment develops. We start developing attachment for that particular thing or a person, whatever. Then after attachment, third thing is the third step is lust. The lust starts developing. Now, what is lust? Lust is something, when we are mad about something, and we are not able to control ourselves, right? We are so passionate that we don't know what will be the consequence, right? We are just mad actually. We are not able to analyze that particular goal properly, right? Whatever we want, right? So we can say, that's lust, correct? And we want to satisfy our own senses and mind. Like it's a basically selfish desire to satisfy our own mind and senses. Now, when this is the goal and we are, trying to achieve something, then it becomes lust, right? Now, lust, it's just a general thing actually. It has many aspects. So lust can be for anything, right? Can be anything or any person. Now, lust develops. After lust, so another thing, so fourth step is, if lust is not fulfilled, we are not able to achieve that, then anger, starts coming. The person starts to get angry. And when the anger becomes so strong, the fifth step is, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita this, the whole flow. Then the next step is the memory gets bewildered, right? Or complete delusion. Basically, the person goes into illusion. He is not able to understand what's happening, what decision I have to take now, what action I have to perform now. He's not able to analyze. This is a complete illusion. The person gets illusion. So the illusion covers basically the person's intelligence. And then the memory gets bewildered. What all the principles which a person has learned in his or her life, right? Whatever he knows about anything, about the higher principles, he forgets. The memory gets bewildered. He's not able to access them, right? And so the supply, the chain or the link towards the memory to the memory, gets cut in between. The person gets bewildered. After that, the intelligence is lost. The person is not able to, think intelligently what to do. And finally, the person falls down. So if we carefully analyze, the whole game starts with the contemplation, the first step, contemplation. When we understand that, if I start contemplating on this and the final result will not be good, right? When we are aware about this, so automatically we can, stop at the first step only, which is contemplation. Yeah, if we have some important goals and we know, yeah, that the result of this goal will be, will be good, then we'll continue with that, right? But we'll make that goal and we'll achieve that goal without falling down. That's another thing. But if the result is not so good and we know that we'll be falling down, actually we'll fall down into the trap when we start contemplating, and this whole sequence will come. So at the first step only we can actually cut this flow, actually, right? The contemplation at the first step. So this is how we can actually protect ourselves. Now we can be aware how the emotions rise, how the emotions start in the mind, right? So if we are aware about our emotions, the starting point, the beginning, then we can actually, at the starting only, we can deal with them very nicely. So that is all about, awareness about our emotions, right? Self-awareness. Now we are talking about the first aspect of EQ, which is awareness about our own emotions. And this is the first practical thing which we can do to enhance our EQ for the first aspect of EQ, which is self-awareness. Second one is self-management. Now we know that we have two things. One is physical body, and then we have a subtle body. The physical aspect and the subtle aspect, right? So if we can balance these two properly, the physical body and the subtle body. The physical body is this body which we are having currently, right? And the subtle body, we can say it has three things: mind, intelligence, and ego. So if you are able to balance, have an equilibrium between these two, subtle and gross, right? Physical or subtle, whatever. So we'll be able to manage our emotions properly, right? So, and also now one practical thing which we can do is right, this is a very known fact, and right, that whatever we eat, so in Hindi this says this particular saying goes, right, that jaisa an vaisa man, right, that whatever we eat, that in that way our mind will, the mentality will develop, or the attitude will develop. That's how our mind will be. So whatever we eat, whatever we drink, whatever we hear, right, whatever we think, whatever we see, right, all these things actually decide how our mind will be, right? All the impressions are made onto the mind, and they are stored in the in the subconscious mind. So when we are actually, when we can control these things actually, what I need to drink, what I need to eat, what I need to see, what I need to hear, right? Or maybe we can actually pay attention to something which is required, which is desirable. And obviously we can't stop our senses, but the thing is, the contemplation, what we can do, we can decide upon the contemplation. If we hear something, do we need to, we can decide whether I need to contemplate on this more, or I can cut it off at this point of time only. If I see something, do I need to contemplate it after seeing a particular thing, or I need to cut it off at this point of time only? If we can actually do this, right, and we can control these things, that whatever we drink, hear, see through our senses, right, that's how our uh, subtle body will be, mind, intelligence, ego. And obviously taking care of the physical body is very necessary. So when we can have an equilibrium between these two, obviously we'll be able to handle with the emotions, or our EQ will be, will be enhanced in that way. So these are the two practical things which we can do: self-awareness, self-management, for the first aspect of EQ, which is awareness about our own emotions. Correct. Now, if we go to the second aspect of EQ, so we have second aspect is what? Awareness about others' emotions. Right. So now let's see what we can do. So there are two things again we can do there. First is social awareness, and then second one is relationship management. So when more people are coming together, so obviously we have to have the relationship management, right? These days actually this is a very great topic. It's a very great detailed topic, the relationship management, but we'll just go briefly, and we'll discuss some important aspects, some important things. Yeah, so if we talk about social awareness, it comes by practice, right? I can't say that I'm sitting at my home and I want to be aware about others' emotions. It's not possible, right? I have to get out. I have to talk to people. I have to get indulged. Then only I'll be able to understand, or so it's about practice actually. So we commit mistakes, we realize, we correct, right? Committing mistakes, realizing, and then correcting the mistakes. So it's all about coming out and have a like practice, to do the practice actually. That's how we can actually learn about this social awareness, right? The second one is relationship management. Now for the relationship management, I have 5 points, right? Yeah, so 5 points, and we can actually frame a very nice acronym for this, which is AFTER, AFTER. Okay, just to remember, right? These are the 5 points. Now, these are just there's a broad points, and there are a lot of things in relationship management, but these are the main things which we can actually discuss and we can practically apply in our lives, and we'll get benefited, right? So the first one is A. Now, what it is? Appreciate the good, right? So we can see that every person obviously has some unique qualities, right? Some unique qualities, some good qualities, everyone has. And so if we appreciate the people around us, right? So whatever we are doing actually, wherever we are, but if we appreciate whoever we meet, right? Whoever we are living with. So what we can do, we can actually, build a good relationship with that person. That's a very simple point. Yeah, but it's obviously it's hard to implement because difficult to implement. But again, it needs practice and it needs efforts, continuous efforts, right? To appreciate, to find something good in other people and the other person. And once we start doing it, life will be good. Now the second one is F, which is forgive the mistakes, right? So like nowadays we can see, I mean, just in after marriages also, or before marriages, or wherever we are, like, right, if a person commits the mistakes, a simple mistake also, the other person is not able to forgive, and the whole life that grudge remains, right? And the person lives with the first person lives with the grudge the whole life, and carries the burden the whole life. So that becomes a problem, because a person will not be able to live life freely. That burden will always create so many problems, like the heaviness will be there. So when we actually learn to forgive the mistakes of others, right, and uh, appreciate them, then yeah, so it'll really help, right? The third one is tolerate the unchangeable, right? There are so many things, though, so many factors which are beyond our control, right? Some people are like perfectionists, so they want to be perfectionist in whatever they do, but unfortunately that is not possible. We can't be perfect, we can't be 100% perfect, right? Only God can be 100% perfect. So when we understand that there are many factors which are beyond our control, so it actually enables us to become humble, right? And when we become humble, then actually our real potential is invoked, and our real strength comes out, and we can actually contribute a lot more when we understand this fact that many factors are there which are beyond my control. Now some people may take it for granted that, oh, many factors are beyond my control, so let me not work only, right? So but yeah, this is not true actually. This is not true actually. So we have to put our endeavors, right, in whatever capacity we have, 100%, without any compromise. We have to set the goal, we have to endeavor nicely, and whatever result comes, we can understand that this result is not just only because of my endeavors, but it's also because of so many other factors which are there, which I may not be aware of. But Bhagavad Gita actually is. So there's a very there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita which is misinterpreted a lot in the society, that karma nevadkariste mahafaleshu kadachana. So like this verse is misinterpreted actually, that people say that, oh, I'll not work only. No, it's not like that. We have to set the goal. There are two things actually. One is goal and one is result. And in between we have the endeavor. So the result comes after the endeavor and the goal is set before the endeavor. If we understand this, then it'll be really good, because it's not like we don't have to set the goals. We have to set the goals before endeavor. Then we have to put our endeavor. After that, whatever the result after that endeavor comes, we have to accept it, right? And we have to set another goal in that way, or take another decision based on that. So it's all about understanding that many factors are beyond the factors which are controlling the result are beyond my control. I have just a contribution in that. It's not like I'm the only one I'm the doer of the activity. I'm responsible, 100% responsible for this activity. No, many other factors are there. Time is there. The Lord is there who will sanction. If the Lord doesn't sanction, it will not come, whatever efforts we put. So many factors are there. So we have to understand this, and we have to tolerate, and we have to accept the unchangeable, right? Now if we talk about the fourth point, it is encourage the potential. It starts with E in the acronym. Encourage the potential, right? Now this is a very interesting thing. It's all about how we see the world. Okay, when we actually see everyone contributing to a bigger picture, right? If we see that there is a bigger picture and everyone is contributing to the bigger picture, in whatever capacity, like a squirrel is also contributing something, a person who is sweeping the roads, who is cleaning the drainage, right? He's also contributing. And if he's not there, those people are not there, the cleaning workers, right? Then the mess will be created in the world, right? Still, at this point of time, only we are struggling so much with the garbage and all those things. So, but if those people are not there, then it'll be very difficult. So we have to actually understand the, the contribution of everybody, and everybody's potential. In Bhagavad Gita, like Krishna says, that our scriptures are very, very clear that every person is unique. Every person is unique. There is some quality in a person, some potential in a person, which, all the innumerable number of, living entities which don't have that particular quality or potential. So there is something unique in every person. The Bhagavad Gita appreciates, or all the scriptures appreciate, right? So if we understand this and we understand the bigger picture, and everyone is contributing towards that bigger picture, then we'll be able to, encourage the potential in everybody. Right? It'll be very easy to encourage, to appreciate the potential in everybody. But if we don't understand that bigger picture and contributions made by everybody, right? Whether he's a prime minister or an entrepreneur or an engineer or doctor or a sweeper or the animals also, so will not be able to, live peacefully in this world, right? So it's very necessary. Encourage the potential, right? And the last one, for this particular thing, relationship management, we have the last point as respect the difference. Now everybody has, all the people have differences, right? And we may have some different opinions. Everybody may have some different opinions, right? So, but if we respect the differences and accept the similarities, right? Similarities, we should respect the differences and similarities both, right? And try to come up with a common conclusion, right? Common common thing. Then actually it will be really good, because when we start disrespecting the differences and we don't acknowledge them, then automatically it becomes a debate. Actually, whatever we are doing, it becomes a debate, and nothing will come out of nothing what to say constructive will come out from that, right? But when we respect the differences, we can understand that every person has a different psychophysical nature, right? There are two things, psycho and physical. So psycho is all about the subtle aspect of the body, subtle body, and the physical is about the gross body. So everyone has a different psychophysical nature. There are millions and millions of combinations, so that particular psychophysical nature will be made, right, for that particular person. So everyone can have different opinions, everyone according to their psychophysical natures, right, according to their perceptions. So if we respect the differences, then actually we'll be able to come up with something constructive. Otherwise it'll be very, very difficult, right? And also, see, every point is interlinked with each other. We can't take one point and forget about the others. No, if we link up all the points together, then only we'll be actually able to appreciate the relationships. So all the points are interlinked or interdependent on each other, right? Yeah, so this is all about relationship management. Not all about, but yeah, I mean, whatever we can, so we can see, we can actually go through these points, and we can actually practically apply these points. It'll really help. And obviously, when the relationship is good, it means that our EQ is good, right? Emotional quotient is good. So this is about the EQ, how to enhance. We asked this question, how to enhance EQ, right? Now, let's talk about SQ. Right now, we'll go through a video. I'll just play a short video here. So I'll tell you what this video is all about. Just carefully see the video. Is the audio audible for this video?
No.
No, sir.
No. Okay, just right. Let me share again. Okay, just confirm once I'm playing the video.
Okay, sit in that chair.
Audible. Okay, thank you.
All right, here's the deal. Marshmallow, for you. You can either wait, and I'll give you another one if you wait, or you can eat it now. When I come back, I'll give you another one, so then you'll have two. But stay in here and stay in the chair till I come back, okay? All right. I'm gonna go do something and then I'll come back.
It smells yummy. It smells really good.
All right, so it's up to you. You can have it now or you can wait. Okay? I'll be back. Stay in the chair, okay? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna leave and then I'll come back, okay? So you can either eat it right now or you can wait. Either way, okay? Okay. How'd you do? Did you do good? You did?
Yeah.
You wanted to eat it, didn't you? Yeah. So did I tell you to give you another one? Okay, now you can have both. You need them.
Okay, so let me, tell about this video, what the video is all about. So it's okay. So there was an experiment which was conducted by a psychologist, Professor Walter Mischel. So he's at Stanford University, and this is called Marshmallow Experiment or Marshmallow Test. Okay, so it was conducted in 1972, and they actually invited some children, and they presented a marshmallow, one marshmallow to in front of them. They just placed in a plate, and they went out for after some time. Actually, they told them that, okay, if you wait for some time, will till I come back. The exam, the person who was actually observing them, if, till the time I come back, if you wait, I'll give you another one, as a reward. But if you don't, now it's your choice. You can eat it now, or maybe you can wait, right? And I'll give you a reward if you wait till I come back. Another one. So it was actually found out that we can see in the video that some people, some children actually, they as soon as the person left, that lady left, they just some children actually just put the marshmallow in their mouth, and some children waited, and they waited for quite some time, and after that, before coming, before that lady come back, so they ate it, and some children actually they waited till the last, till the lady comes back. So it was found that, so let me come to the point. So it was found that some the kids which were actually, which were able to exhibit some patience, they were able to exhibit the patience, and they were very, very stable in that particular situation. They were actually undergoing through some spiritual practices, and also, they were observed for some years, and it was found that those children were able to do really good in their lives, in their material lives as well, in their careers, and in general in life. They were able to do really, really good. They'll very, very successful. So the point which I'm highlighting here is they were actually, doing, they were in directly or indirectly, they were in, in connection with to some spiritual practices, right? Because of which they had this tendency to be stable, to be strong, to be, to have patience, right? Otherwise, it'll be very difficult. Now, this is a very interesting test which actually tells us about the spiritual practices, which are very, very important, which are mandatory. And if we actually practice spirituality through our lives, then a lot of difference will come in our lives. Now we are going towards spiritual quotient, right? So now let's talk about what happens when there's low spiritual quotient. The spiritual quotient is low. Okay, we'll first go through a case study. This is an year-wise, suicides reported in India. So it was this statistics from NCRB, which is National Crime Records Bureau. Okay, so just look at the. Let me turn on the pointer if I have. Okay, pointer. Okay, no issue. So yeah, if you can see at the, just look at the number in 2020. These are the number of suicides, which were, suicides cases in the year 2020. Just look at this number, which is 1,53,052. These are the number of suicides which were actually captured. Okay, this data is captured. Okay, in 2020. And there were many people, including professionals, self-employed people, students as well. And these category, if we talk about this category, that students, professionals, then we can find that the number was around 50,000, 45 to 50,000. So these many students, professionals actually did suicides, committed suicide in the year 2020, and this is a total number, including everyone. Now, if we, so I just went through another statistics from Union Health Ministry in 2020 for number of COVID deaths. So I looked at the number and I found out that it was 1.49 lakhs in 2020. So I was surprised that the number of COVID deaths was less compared to, the number of suicides. And why is it happening? It's happening only because the spiritual quotient is low. So the people dying from the physical disease, any physical disease just like COVID, is less compared to the number of suicides, which actually deals, which is, which has something to do with the subtle part of the body, which is mind, intelligence, and ego, right? So people are not able to handle the situations, and many people have committed suicide, including, and there's a lot. The huge number is, 1/3 is students plus the professional people. So it's a very great number, and it's very unfortunate to know, but this is a reality. So if a person has low spiritual quotient, then this will be the result, right? And I was surprised to hear in one of the sessions I was attending that every day in Bangalore, and that data may not be captured, right? That I was hearing from someone that around 150 to 200 suicide cases, the reports come actually that these many, this person has committed suicide. So around 150 to 200 cases come every day in Bangalore, in just one city. And those may not be reported, right? May not be captured in the records also on statistics. 150 to 200. Can you imagine the whole city of Bangalore? So it's actually very unfortunate to know this, but it's a reality to do. Now, there's a statistics. We'll also go through some real life examples which we saw. Two examples. One is so Dr. Ashok Kumar. He was former registrar at the university, Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences in Bangalore. And so what happened is he actually committed suicide. It was a suicide case. And when I was reading, so I, just going through the news report, so I found out that there was debt which was pending on him from a long time. And there was some a desire to to become vice chancellor, or a desire to be promoted, right? But that was somehow was not getting fulfilled, and also a lot of money was also involved in that. But there was a lot of debt, and uh, he was not able to repay, and a lot of pressure was there. And because of that, um, he just committed suicide. He was not able to take that pressure anymore, right? So this is how, I mean, our desires, if we are not able to handle the desires, handle the situations properly, if we don't have the inner stability, inner happiness, or the satisfaction, inner satisfaction, if we don't have that, it will be very difficult, right? The mind can actually and a person will not know only. That's the problem. Many people don't actually realize that they are into depressions, but they are. So that's a reality. Okay. Now, yeah, we'll go through one more maybe example, which is everyone knows about him, right? He was the founder chairman of Cafe Coffee Day, CCD. Obviously, the youth may know. Youth will be knowing, right? The CCD. Now, so he's Mr. VG Siddharth. So I was just reading again the news article, and just going through his a little bit about his life, right? And his company was doing really good. The CCD was doing really good. And but what happened, right? Somehow they took a lot of they actually got into a lot of debt. Again, the company went into a lot of debt, and Mr. VG Siddharth was trying his best, trying his he was trying his best to repay the debt, and to change the business models in some way or the other, and to bring the company back into the normal operations, right? He was doing his best. His team was doing its best, right? But so what happened, I was just reading through the article. So so what happened is, one day on Monday, on an afternoon, Monday afternoon, so Vijay Siddharth was, he told his driver, he directed his driver that his driver's name was Patil, right? Baswaraj Patil. So he directed him that let me, please drive me towards Mangalore. I want to go there. Now, obviously, the driver, after the direction, he just took out the car and he started with Mr. Siddharth. And in between the way, there was a river. There's a river called Netravati, if I'm correct with the name Netravati. Okay, yeah. So Netravati River, there's a bridge in between, on the way, and Mr. Siddharth told his driver Patil to stop the car, and like he told him that I want to go for a walk for just some time, for some minutes, and then I'll come back. Okay, and don't call me. I mean, I'll just come back, and after having a walk, I just want some space. So his driver was waiting, and he went out. Mr. Siddharth went out, and on Monday, sorry, on Wednesday morning, so his body was found near a shore in the of this river, Netravati River. And so after like the Patil, the driver was trying his best to call again, and after 90 minutes, 1.5 hours, he waited for 1.5 hours, and he was very anxious. So, like, for 1.5 hours of walk, I mean, I'm not sure actually how. So like on the way, he just got out, and then he went for a walk, and that too for 1.5 hours. It's not very natural actually. right? So he called him really so many times and it was not reachable, switch off like that. So after that, when the body was found, then he came to know, okay, yeah, so he committed suicide. And there was a note which was left by Mr. Siddharth, and I'll just read it. So yeah, so the note goes like this: I have failed to create the right profitable business model despite my best efforts. I would like to say I gave it my all. I'm very sorry to let down all the people that put their trust in me. I fought for a long time, but today I gave up as I could not take any more pressure. Right? And yeah, so this was his note actually, and just a small excerpt from his note. So the thing is, this is, it was a very, very great company. It's a very great company, like very huge company, right? And and finally, like what happened to the founder. So this actually tells us about what happens when a person has low spiritual quotient. Again, despite all the efforts, the person actually, the mind drags the person into such a state of consciousness where he's not able to take any more pressure, and he's not able to deal with the situation, and he gets in the wrong direction and takes a wrong decision, which is not meant to be taken. Somehow, obviously, it's difficult when the person gets into that consciousness, but still, if the person has good spiritual quotient, then he can be saved, right? And also from the Bhagavad Gita and from the scriptures, actually from the scriptures, it's very clear that the lifespan of a person is fixed. Okay, the lifespan of a person is fixed um, in terms of the number of years or whatever time, right? And the nature actually makes sure, the material nature makes sure that. But if a person actually takes according to his free will, if he takes a decision that I will quit my body, before the time is up, he can take that decision. Then what will happen is the number of years which are still buffer, which was supposed to be completed, in throughout the lifespan. So those number of years, the person has to, remain in a subtle body. Now this is a, a spiritual fact, and the person has to undergo more and more sufferings compared to, this life, when he takes this decision actually for leaving the body. So from the scriptural point of view also, uh, this is a very, unfortunate decision if a person can take, which a person can take actually. So so yeah, so if we don't have like a lot of, good amount of spiritual quotient, these things can happen. So we can learn a lesson. Now again, we can ask a question to ourselves: how to enhance the spiritual quotient, right? Now we saw that it's the spiritual quotient is all about, the inner satisfaction, the deeper meaning in life, right? The purpose of whatever we do and in life, for the life in general. So how to get that inner stability, inner strength, right? There's a big question nowadays. And inner satisfaction, and the people are really struggling with that. But I just included one slide to highlight how to enhance our spiritual quotient, and all these things: inner satisfaction, inner stability, strength, right, will be met when we actually try to follow these principles or try to apply these things in life, which I'm going to show or display in the next slide. And also in the nowadays, like, students are facing a lot of problems, a lot of issues while interviews, right? And many people, you are students, so I also was a student, and I'm a student still, in a bigger picture, but still, like, in my academic days. So when a company used to come, so there used to be a lot of pressure, you know even at the time of exams also. So how to get that inner stability, how to get that inner strength? So this is an interesting question, right, which we need to ask, and we need to find out the answer to, right? And I also took one session in another college in Bangalore. So students really struggle with that. And they have this question always: how to face the interviews, how to have that confidence in the interviews, And right, so that's the thing. So let's talk about this. Okay. Okay, just focus on these things. Maybe just highlight these things. Yeah. So there are 4 do's. Okay, 4 things, which is A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D of SQ for enhancing the SQ, right? We can call it of SQ, right, for enhancing the SQ. So A stands for association of the devotees, association of the people who actually have a good amount of SQ, which is spiritual quotient, right? Because it's a higher, it's a general principle that if we associate with a person, if a person associate with another person who is at a higher level, right, automatically the second person also starts to come at that level, right? Again, the first person will also go at another level, the next level. The second person will also, starts approaching that second level. So it's a sequence, it's a series, it's a continuous kind of thing. So when we associate with people who already have good amount of SQ, spiritual quotient, like the inner stability, inner strength, inner happiness, they are actually able to feel that happiness, inner happiness within, right? Then automatically we'll also be, we'll also get that desire, and we'll also, be, can reach that particular level. So that's the thing. So this association is very, very important, and this A is for association, right? Now, if we talk about B, which is books, right? Reading the books. Nowadays, many people say that I don't have the what to say. I don't have the habit of reading the books, but actually, we should cultivate it. We should cultivate it because it's very, very necessary. When we read the books, it really helps a lot, and especially the spiritual books, right? Some people actually read novels. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it depends on the person, but if we read more, if we read more, if we read about read the spiritual books more, and then a lot of positive changes or transformations will come in our lives. So the books, that can be scriptures. Now the scripture can be any scripture which is bona fide, of any country, of any religion, doesn't matter, but it should be bona fide. When it's an authentic scripture, it's bona fide. It's coming down without contamination, without misinterpretation, with the exact message of whatever it needs to, it needs to give. Then we will get benefited, and the transformation, real transformation will come in life. That's for sure. So I personally read Bhagavad Gita, and there are many scriptures, which are available, and we can read, we can go through them, and we can actually apply the principles of this, scriptural principles in our lives. And when we start applying that slowly, gradually, uh, our rescue will be strengthened more and more. So this books is very, very important, very, very important. Now, if we talk about the C, the third one, it is chanting of the whole names of the Lord, the holy names of the Lord. Actually, I wanted to include one more video here, but somehow I didn't include. I couldn't get, you know, uh, get the time. So I just went to a video, actually through a video on YouTube. So there's a lot of research going on how the frequency, the sound, the sound waves, different frequencies of sounds can actually produce different patterns, right? Beautiful patterns. If you change the set of frequencies, the patterns will change, and amazing patterns are coming up with different sets of frequencies, right? And yeah, so that is the power of sound. I just got, I was very, very amazed to see that. I was very thrilled to see that is the power of sound. Sound has so much power that it can actually awaken that particular person. Now there are two kinds of sounds, sound vibrations. Basically, these are vibrations. One is material sound vibration, and second one is spiritual sound vibration. So if we talk about material sound vibrations, it's limited to this world, this particular world where we are living in. But the scriptures are very clear that there is a spiritual world, and there are spiritual sound vibrations, which don't belong to this world. But when we associate with those sound vibrations, they actually, they can awaken us from within, right? So that's what chanting is all about, right? If we chant the names of the supreme person, the supreme being, every single day without fail, right, with so much of determination and faith and a lot of sincerity, if we do that and we come in association with that spiritual sound vibrations, it can actually go into our ears, and it can actually awaken the soul from within. So that's the thing, that's the importance of spiritual sound vibration. So I just got amazed by seeing the power of sound, material sound vibrations, how they can produce a lot of amazing patterns, with different sets of frequencies of sound waves. But what to talk about the spiritual sound vibrations, right? It's really powerful. So this is about C, which is chanting. Now, the final one is D, which is diet. Now, the diet is like when we offer it to the Lord, it becomes a prasad. It becomes an offering. And when we take that offering, right, as a prasad, when we take that diet, when we consume that diet as a prasad, as a what to say, as a mercy of the Lord, then what happens is the cleansing happens from within. Our consciousness gets cleansed, our heart gets cleansed, right? So we know that we have so many impurities like lust, anger, greed, right? Envy, a lot of things. So now, how to get cleansed of all these? So I was just hearing a lecture, and there it was mentioned that if we there's a ground, and there's a grass on that ground, right? If we set fire, so what happens is the whole grass and the whole bushes and whatever is there in the ground, they all will be burnt to ashes. But what happens is still the root remains, right? Still the root remains inside the ground, inside the land, right? Even if at the top level the grass has been burnt by the fire, due to the fire, all the trees and plants are burned due to the fire, but the root still remains inside the ground, right? And whenever the rain happens, again the grass comes up, right? The bushes come up, and they start growing because the root is still there in the land. So if we actually understand this principle, that just acting on the top level, right, to get rid of these impurities called lust, anger, greed, envy, right? If we just work at the top level, it may help to some extent, but not completely. The roots will not get uprooted, right? Then the roots will not go away. But to actually uproot the whole all the grass of these impurities, all the bushes of these impurities from the root itself, then we need to actually take shelter of spirituality actually. And when we actually do this, by chanting, by reading the books, by having a diet which is offered to the Lord, it gets purified. It gets a spiritual potency. And when we take that, when we consume that, automatically the cleansing happens. So when we do these things, automatically what happens is, obviously we'll get rid of these impurities. Inner stability will come. And when this covering of all these impurities will slowly from the root itself, when they go away, when they slowly get uncovered or go away basically, then the real knowledge actually blossoms, or we get that inner happiness or inner peace, right? Inner bliss, which we are all looking for actually. And that's what spirituality is all about. It's about invoking the real happiness which we already have within us. We have to just invoke that, and we have to get purified, and then we have to just invoke that. That's all that's what the spirituality is all about. So I just got these four practical things which we can actually apply in our lives, and we can get benefited and enhance our spiritual quotient in that way. So these will really help. And finally, in this session, I'll just want to go to just display this quote. It's a really amazing quote. that we are not human beings with spiritual experiences, but we are spiritual beings with human experience. Right? If we carefully look at the second part, we are not human beings, but we are spiritual beings. We are actually spiritual, but we are going through a human experience for some amount of time. Right now, these quotes and these, it can actually, trigger so many thoughts, some thought process within us, that who we are, what the life is all about, and what is the purpose of this, creation of this whole world, right? Who am I? What is my duty? What is my eternal duty? All these things. So, uh, yeah. So this is what, the spirituality can uncover. And when we more and more apply these four principles, which is A, B, C, D, in our lives, automatically we'll get more and more spiritual quotient, and the inner stability which we talk about, the inner uh, happiness, bliss, will slowly get uncovered, and we'll experience that. Right. So that's all for today's session. Thank you. So I'll just want to summarize a little bit, like whatever we have discussed today. So today we started with IQ, EQ, and SQ. What is IQ? What is EQ? What is SQ? Basically, what are the aspects of all these three questions? Acha, can anyone tell me in the chat box what is the aspect of IQ, what is the aspect of EQ and SQ? You can write. I'll just continue with the summary. So after that, we acknowledge this fact that already we all are already having this good amount of IQ, right? That's a fact. So by acknowledging this, we moved on to EQ and SQ. That how to first we saw some stories, some statistics, some real life examples through which we understood what happens when a person has low EQ first, and then about SQ also. What happens when a person has low SQ? Right? What is the consequence? So we understood that through some stories, one story, statistics, and some real life examples. After that, for both EQ and SQ, we saw like how to enhance our EQ and how to enhance our SQ. So these are the three broad things which we covered. Now in how to enhance the EQ, we talked about two aspects, right? There are two aspects of EQ, which is awareness about my own emotions, awareness about others' emotions. Second one is this. Now for awareness about my own emotion, the first aspect of EQ, we discussed there are one single sutra which we saw is put momentary needs on hold and pursue higher and more important goals. Like this was the sutra. And uh, if we go more deeper into it, we discussed that for enhancing the first aspect, awareness about our own emotions, we discussed two things: self-awareness, self-management, right? Awareness about our own emotions and how to deal with them at the beginning, starting point, and awareness about managing the physical body and the subtle body and maintaining an equilibrium so that our EQ can enhance. Second aspect of EQ was how to be aware of others' emotions. Now for this, we had again two practical things. First one is social awareness. Second one is relationship management. For the social awareness, it comes by practice, we discussed. We have to get on the fields, commit mistakes, realize them, and then correct them, right? So this is how we can have that. Second one is relationship management. We saw 4 acronyms. I'll just go through to that slide at least. Yeah. So relationship management, we discussed about 5 things, 5 points, which has an acronym name after AFTER, right? Appreciate the good, forgive the mistakes, tolerate the unchangeable, encourage the potential, and respect the difference. So this is how we can manage the relationships better. And after that, finally, we went to how to enhance our SQ. And we saw these 4 points, which is A, B, C, D, association of the people who are having more, good amount of SQ. Reading those books, mainly scriptures, right? Because scriptures give us the perfect knowledge. Through our senses, how much we can perceive. Our senses, mind are imperfect, right? So many times we get illusioned, right? This is a practical experience. So scriptures are perfect because they are coming down from the Lord without any misinterpretation, without any contamination. So we can just learn this, we can actually read the scriptures, we can get to know, and we can apply it in our lives, and automatically we'll see the transformations. That's the power of the scriptures. We saw chanting of the names of the Lord, the spiritual sound vibrations basically. And the fourth one was diet, which is which we can accept as a mercy of the Lord. After offering to him, we can have it. It will purify us because it has the spiritual potency, because the Lord is spiritual, right? And finally we saw this quote. It's this very famous quote. Actually, you can see that we are not human beings with spiritual experiences, but we are spiritual beings with human experience, just to invoke some, just to trigger some thought process, and start asking questions: who we are, right? Who am I basically, and what is the purpose of the life? What the world is all about? What I'm meant to do here, right? All these questions we can ask, and we can actually dig deeper into our lives actually, and in that way actually we can we can actually enhance our spiritual quotient. Yeah, so thank you. If you have any questions, any reflections, so you can go with that.
So participants, any questions? Would like to give any feedback, realizations? Okay, let me put my realization in here. So,
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
It was a wonderful session, sir. And I think for the past 1.5 years, I'm actually practicing spirituality as well as I'm learning Gita from our Kartiya Prabhuji from ISKCON Whitefield. Maybe my colleagues and family members will be finding some difference in me. I was a very short-tempered person. So whether it is in the department or it is at home, every small mistakes used to trigger me. I used to get either tension or I'd be angry. So nowadays people used to ask me, why are you not getting angry for these things? So I think there is some effect on practicing spirituality. And the last quote which said, we are not we are not human beings, we are spiritual experiences. So I can say after 1.5 years now, I have started realizing it a little. So the things, what he said as after and ABCD. After, of course, what he said is okay. Then in ABCD, especially regarding reading scriptures. So it is not that you have to read just Bhagavad Gita or anything, any scripture, and as he said, it should be from an author, it should be an authorized one, it should not be written from anywhere, and we have to follow it properly. It's not that we take in the sense which we like, what we understand, it should be the correct sense. And if we follow in the proper sense, I think every human being is going to be in proper sense, proper emotion, and in proper intelligence. So once our spirituality is there, I think our emotion will be stable. And once our emotion is stable, intelligence will come out. Everybody is intelligent, but in which way it comes out, that's what makes the difference. So I think through spirituality, everything can be managed. And of course, nowadays, if we speak about spirituality, people will think it they take it in a different way. Maybe there are few fake people are there, insulting others. Once we speak about spirituality now, especially the youngsters, what they feel is just get some saffron cloth. You can sit at home and make money. That is spirituality. That's what people think. It's not so. So only if we read scriptures, only if we approach proper persons who are practicing pure spirituality, will come to know about it and what is the effect of it, how we can safeguard ourselves from this filthy world. That is very, very essential, especially for the present youngsters, youth, because I've found them to be very, very emotional. And even for small issues, they feel like fighting with each other. Small issues, I can say, somebody touched my bike, or somebody looked at my girlfriend, or somebody went with my boyfriend. These are the reasons for what they get angry, and which ends up in big fights. So to have an emotional control, I think spirituality is essential. Whatever may be the religion you follow, whatever may be the scripture you read, but it should be there. That's what I feel. And now from his lecture also, that I can it has become more relevant to me. So this is what I feel. And before we end up, I would like to thank our Karthika Prabhuji, who was our today's resource person, and he has arranged even today's resource person and this topic. So I'm really thankful to him for arranging this session. Now over to Ms. Harita.
I deem it a great honor to propose the vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this section such a resounding success. First of all, I would like to propose heartily vote of thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Pranjay Mehta, for gracing today's webinar. Thank you, sir, for your very interesting and thought-provoking address. We understood what are these IQ, EQ, and SQ, and also about his accepts. He also concluded section with a quote. It's really meaningful and powerful one. It's really a wonderful section and we really enjoyed it. Thank you, sir. I would also like to thank our beloved HOD, Dr. Mrudula Ravindran, for her moral support and guidance. I'm happy to express vote of thanks to our staff members who have made this section a grand success. Finally, the wonderful students who have turned up in such a great number, not only from our college, but also from other colleges. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Once again, I thank each and everyone who made this section in a wonderful way. Thank you. Thank you all.
So thank you, Pranjay sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Midula, and thank you everyone for joining the session and attending it so sincerely.
Thank you. Yeah, participants, please fill the feedback. And those who are attending in a single point, please see that it is shared with all and all fill the feedback. And I shall send it through mail also, the feedback links for both the days. Those who have missed it, please kindly fill it and send. 100